Well, right now, there is a push to change the White House Rose Garden. You might be asking why. Well, look at this. More than 41,000 people have signed a petition on change.org. It's calling on First Lady Jill Biden to undo changes to the Rose Garden that were done by her predecessor, Melania Trump. Well, here's another look at the before and after there. The first picture was taken back in April of 2014. The second one in August of last year, right there on the right. Well, now this petition is asking the First Lady and Second Gentleman to restore the garden to Jackie Kennedy's original design that lasted from 1962 up until last year. You might remember there was a lot of backlash when Mrs. Trump made the changes to Mrs. Kennedy's original design. Many claim the garden, well, it just isn't as pretty now. But one big reason for some of the changes was actually to make that garden more accessible to people with disabilities. Still, the petition is steadily growing with the goal of reaching 50,000 signatures.